And we're going to talk college football, which today is brought to us by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And even when the weather outside gets cold, NFL offers stay red hot. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you're thinking about joining FanDuel, right now is the perfect time to get in on the action. The app is simple to use, and you can do anything. You can bet on anything, from spreads to player props to over-unders and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
I think it's crazy that people kill the committee. Like, why blame those people? The system's bad, and fortunately it's done, but they were in an impossible spot.
You know what? They dodged bullets to this point. They had misses before.
Yeah.
This was the most egregious miss that they had. But I hadn't told anybody.
Oh, you mean the system?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Like, what are they supposed to do?
Which is why I've been screaming from the moment they went to 4. I said, oh, now you're really going to screw someone.
Yeah.
Because before, when it was 2, which was absurd, you were screwing 3 or 4 teams that had legitimate cases. But, Bull, you're right. I don't blame the committee. The committee had an impossible job.
It was impossible, yeah.
And when it first came out and they said, we're going to go to 4, I said, well, wait a minute. You got the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the Big East, the SEC. Like, who's going to go undefeated and get shafted? And it was Florida State.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I think one of the reasons the committee gets a lot of, whether it's right or wrong, I think people are mad at the fact that they say, the reason we didn't put you in is because your quarterback was hurt. For players on the team, for the intent of what sportsmanship is, we just saw Ohio State do that and run the table and beat 3-4 teams with Cardell Jones.
At number 3.
Right, but
but Cardell Jones played great even before the playoffs.
And that is the difference. Like,
right.
What it boiled down to is that I said before the game kicked, Florida State can't just win; they need a boat race.
100%.
And Urban said that in the
100%.
pregame show of the Michigan game when they were talking scenarios. He goes, but for all you people out there that are saying, well, wait a minute, you put Ohio State in with a number 3. They won the Big Ten championship game 59-0.
Right.
Yeah,
if Florida State would have put up a huge offensive number and their quarterback looked great, they would have been in.
They're in.
The problem was that how could you put in Alabama and not put in Texas when Texas beat Alabama?
You couldn't.
That puts you in an impossible spot.
That was the problem.
And there was no way they were going to leave the SEC champ out.
Never. There was a lot of talk of that.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, the SEC's going to not get a bid, and I laughed.
Yeah, right.
And I said, no, they're getting a bid.
Of course they are.
So when you say, look, hey, everybody want a chance to prove it on the field, and you know what? The good thing about it is, I'm glad. I don't want nobody voting. I don't like no sports anymore.
You're glad it's going to 12.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Now, they'll still be picking a lot of the teams.
But here's the thing, though. Let the controversy be over number 13.
Yeah, that team's got no chance anyway.
Because that team has no chance.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, even though it was an impossible task, they did make the right call. Here's what I think so. I had a conversation with Herb Street about this once, and he disagreed with a lot of it, but at my mission statement at the bottom, he said, yeah, you're right. Here's the way I would pick. And it's tough because we can't handicap games any good. If we could, we'd be in Vegas for a living. But what I always try to say is I don't even really look at the records so much. What I look at is if these teams played head-to-head 10 times, what's the outcome going to be? And the reason why, I think, so you had Ohio State, who lost 1 game to a rival on the road, had the most difficult schedule in college football, and had 3 wins against top 15s. They weren't even in the discussion.
Oh, no, they ain't even in the top 6.
But in reality, when you lose to your rival by 1 score, look at what Alabama did. I go back to the moment it happened, I said, that is an earthquake that's going to be felt next week in college football. The 4th and 17, when Alabama was down to Auburn, Auburn rushed 2 players. 2. I don't think I've ever seen that before. You always rush at least 3.
Why rush 2?
Why are you rushing 2?
Just drop
he
11
stood
back in
there
coverage
flat-footed for 8 seconds, and he found his guy for the touchdown. Now, they made the play. Kudos to them. But in all seriousness, that play, if they run it 100 times, they probably complete it 2 or 3. If Auburn takes care of business and does the right thing there and doesn't have an absolute brain fart, Alabama's season is over no matter what happens in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
It's over. And Georgia, I think the team that got most screwed is Georgia.
Think about it. Like
Georgia was number 1 all year.
Had not won
and
for
they're
3
watching Alabama, who beat them by a field goal.
And they had not lost in 3 years. Almost.
Yes.
I know.
29
and they got
straight wins.
absolutely no benefit of the doubt.
In a perfect world, this year would have been at least 6 teams, so you could have had Florida State and Georgia in.
You needed 6. This year you needed 6.
Yeah.
Can I offer a spin zone real quick?
Sure.
I actually think Florida State had the best case scenario play out for them. Because for the rest of eternity,
they didn't win handily enough.
For the best of no, I'm saying for them to miss the playoff was actually the best thing that ever happened to them.
Oh, I disagree
Because
with that.
for eternity, fans can
they would have got
about
smoked.
getting
You
screwed.
Well, here's the thing.
As
Not
opposed
really.
to actually playing Michigan and
Watch
losing
what happens
by
to
50.
Florida State when they play Georgia.
Well, Georgia's Bulls are so stupid now. There's already 100 players in the transfer portal.
Well,
None of these guys are going to
not
play.
only that,
and including Kyle McCord, which I want to ask about.
Yeah.
He's in the portal. Are you guys sad? Are you going to miss him?
Wow.
No.
But good riddance. Bye-bye.
Does anyone care?
He was
No.
pedestrian. He's the worst quarterback Ohio State's had in 20 years.
And by the way, doesn't that show? Maybe I'm reading something into stuff here. That Marvin Harrison's definitely going.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, he's definitely gone. Yeah.
I thought he was anyway, but
McNuggets, what did I say when preseason started?
You called him
nothing.
Minimoski. You called him
What I say?
Minimoski.
well, they better go get a good quarterback out of that portal.
Why would
Well,
you?
that's the hope.
That's the.
And there's some good ones to be had. Look at Bo Nix. Like, who's going to win the Heisman?
No,
by the
Bo
way?
Nix is like 700 years old. He's not in the portal.
No, but what I'm saying is Bo Nix is a guy.
Jaden
Look
Daniels
at Joe
of
Burrow.
LSU is going to win the Heisman.
There are guys that got stuck. Look at Texas.
I think
You were started at Ohio State. He ended up at Texas. So the whole reason I bring these guys up is you can do that.
Yeah.
Do you want
And
me
it's,
saying?
it's easier to do that now than ever before.
People complain about the portal. I think it's good.
It's interesting.
You don't have a good quarterback? Go get a good quarterback if you're big enough
It
program.
throws an interesting
Yeah.
wrinkle in the whole thing.
It's like this free agency every year.
Oh yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
It's essentially free
Yeah.
agency.
You
Do you know
can't
what you're saying?
stockpile 7 quarterbacks and then be like, we gonna promise all of y'all gonna
No,
play.
you can't.
Right,
Those
right,
days
yeah.
are gone. What I wonder I wish Tyvis was here because I meant to text this to him and I forgot. Someone texted me, and I don't know if it was factual or what, because when I asked a follow question, I never got an answer. Someone said that Marvin Harrison's going to make more if he stays in Columbus next year than his rookie deal in the NFL. I don't see how that's possible.
But that doesn't make any sense because he could.
You'd
he's
get
still-
3 years, number one,
Right.
probably 4 for
Well, no,
Marvin Harrison.
he'll get 4 with a potential with a
Potential
5-year
fifth.
option.
Yeah, so
And he's going to get endorsement deals in the pros too.
sure. What I don't understand is, and it's mostly Ohio State fans who are trying to make the argument for why he will stay.
Yeah.
Stop.
Like, he's gone. I'd be shocked if he stays. It doesn't mean he can't. Doesn't mean he won't. I'll just be shocked if he does. But someone texted me and said he's going to make more in Columbus.
How much did he make this
next year.
past
I
year?
don't
Do you
know. That's
know?
why I wanted to ask Tyvis.
yeah.
I don't know if that number is even out there. Do they have to report that number, Mikey?
But how much could it be?
No, they don't have to
millions.
report it.
Right, but how much is he going to get paid as the first
What's
pick?
the second slotted pick in the NFL draft typically make? $25 million for 4?
Yeah, I
$30
mean, is
million
he
for
going to make?
4? It's not going to make that much
Man,
money.
look,
Eventually he's going to go to the NFL and get
Yeah,
that
right,
pay deal
right,
anyhow.
yeah.
Even if he suffers a big injury, he's still going to be an
He
NFL
does
guy.
not. Y'all keep forgetting. I mean, his daddy was. He's been rich.
That's true. He don't
Yeah.
need the money.
No.
Like,
But why
like-
wouldn't you want to go to the
CJ
NFL?
Stroud's deal, by the way, sorry to cut you off, Bull, but Stroud, the number 2 pick this year.
Yeah.
4 years, $37 million.
Okay, so that's
He's not a
ballpark.
quarterback, but still.
No, but it's still, I think they slot.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
It's
I
gonna
think
be
it's
in the
slotted now,
ballpark.
yeah.
Like, he's got to go, I would think.
Yeah, that's like $10 million
But
a
he
year
did
almost.
say, he was quoted as saying, I did not do what I came here to do. I haven't done it yet. That was interesting to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's breadcrumbs. I remember when Dan Wilkinson, or no, not Dan Wilkinson, it was Orlando Pace, who was he was in New York for the Heisman dinner. And we were there, and we were talking to him about what he was going to do. And at first, it was just me and Orlando. And I said, obviously, the next question is, are you coming back? And he drops this bombshell and said, I'm coming back. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, I'm coming back. And I'm like, that's a foregone conclusion. You were out, whether you won the Heisman or not. He goes, no, yeah, I'm going to tell Coop after the dinner tonight. I'm coming back.
That's crazy.
Now, what happened was he obviously didn't. He changed his mind and rightfully came out in the NFL draft and was, I don't know if he's the number 1 overall, but he was early, very early. But he created this ripple where everybody was now writing stories. The story in Columbus on the night of the Heisman Trophy ceremony was Orlando Pace is coming back, because that's what he told us. And I don't even know if I'm going to pay much validity to something that Harrison says, which might have been a one-off question. It wasn't, are you coming back?
Right.
In his response to a question, he said, I haven't yet accomplished what I came to Columbus to do.
Man, the last time somebody told me that, we was all at home, and I had seen Mike Doss. We was out in the streets, and he was like, yeah, I'm coming back. I said, bro, you stupid. I was like, for what? I said, you know you still poor, right?
Go get paid.
Matter of fact, you got like $5 right now. Like, you can't even and he's like, nah, I'm going to come back. And like, he did come back. They did win a national championship, but
it doesn't always work out.
It don't be working like that. Cardell Jones, every time I beat Cardell Jones.
Yeah.
Hey, let's forecast the games. Because a lot of guys at Michigan came back. McCarthy, Corum, other guys on the defense. They rolled the dice. So far, it's worked. I think the worst thing, I loved watching
that was funny
the
when they heard Alabama.
They thought, I literally thought, this is unbelievable. They're going to get Florida State. They're going to get a waltz into the championship game, because I thought that last year.
We said that last
TCU.
year too, though, and that didn't pan out. But
No,
TCU
it didn't
is a
pan
very
out,
different team.
TCU and Florida State are two different things. But I thought, here goes again. The college football gods are shining on Michigan. They're going to get the one, and they're going to get a Florida State team that's without its leader. But the way it worked out, they got hosed.
But they are a favorite in the game, a slight favorite.
And I think they should be.
What's the spread on the other game?
I think Alabama's going to beat them.
Of course.
It feels like these games are all toss-ups.
Michigan's offense is bad. It's bad.
I don't really see how Michigan be winning. Like, they be running the offense like
it's very, very standard.
Vanilla. Now, what's the crazy part is
they made a good Iowa defense though look pretty bad.
As an Ohio State, what y'all wish for is they get smoked by Alabama, but J.J. McCarthy plays well, and then he goes to the league, because like they have him like moving up these draft boards because they
very unimpressed with J.J.
I don't see him as an NFL quarterback.
He is not an NFL quarterback.
And I'm like, I was looking for it. I'm like, where's Penix at? They're like, oh no, J.J. McCarthy in the 20s.
He feels like another Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett.
He does to me too. I think they win. They've got a great running back in Corum. I think they've got an unbelievable defense. They've got a really, really good defense. But I just trust Nick Saban in these situations.
The Vegas lines right now, Michigan a 1.5 favorite.
That's fair.
Texas a 4-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like all these games and any matchup in the championship will probably be a close game.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about Texas.
Although I know nothing about it because I don't watch any of these teams.
What would be your dream matchup in the championship game?
Oh, Bama, Texas.
I think so too.
If they want the storyline,
it's
a rematch from earlier in the season.
Loss.
Are you rooting for Michigan to lose?
I am. I can't root. I will not root for Michigan. Here's another.
What if it was another Big Ten school?
Another problem I had, and I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this while we have a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do this in overtime. I hated, and I understand why, but I hated that a team that knowingly cheated, is the number 1 seed, and there's a 13-0 and a Power 5 watching.
Save that thought. That's going to be overtime.
Okay.
We're going to piss Steve Becker off in overtime. That's a
Good.
perfect overtime
They
topic
cheated.
there.